Good afternoon, Earth Science class, or morning, whenever this is for you. I've lost all track of time and date. It could be Sunday, it could be Wednesday, I don't know. But I know that I'm enjoying this time off. I hope you are too. Hopefully you've been able to get in and do some of the activities I posted for you in Google Classroom. There are several there. Go in, mostly trying to just review the things we've talked about this semester, which has only been a half a semester, so we've only had the climate change and the weather units, and just wanted to give you some different options for activities to do as you're going along. And I thought this would be a fun one I ran across. It's making your very own barometer. And if you remember when we talked about weather, we didn't talk about measuring devices very much, but we did talk about the barometric pressure, which shows us if we have low or high pressure systems that are in the area. And that oftentimes determines whether we have sunny or cloudy and rainy conditions. So if you can't remember which, I encourage you to pause the video right now and determine which is what happens when we have low pressure, what happens when we have high pressure in the area. But we're going to do make our very own barometer here. Very simple homemade model. There's different models you can make. I thought this one might encompass most of the materials you might have at home, and I'll show you how it works when I get done with it. But what you're going to need is something like a mason jar. The narrow mouth would work pretty well. See if your mom or dad has mason jar at home. A balloon, a piece of cardstock or construction paper would work just fine. A rubber band, straw, either a needle or a piece of wire that you've cut. I did that here, and I'll show you why that in a little bit, and some tape. So the first thing you want to do is take your balloon and cut off the mouth of it, or the neck, and then I did it already, so you can see that's already been cut off. And what you want to do is be able to get this whole thing around the mouth of the jar, so kind of get it as tight as you can and get it as flat as you can on here. And take your rubber band, and just to make sure it doesn't move and make sure we got a nice solid seal, I'm going to put the rubber band around the jar a couple times. So what we've got is we've trapped air inside this jar. There's only a certain amount of air in there, and now the balloon will move based on the pressure of air, or the pressure exerting down on this jar. So the higher the pressure, the more pressure is pushing in on the jar. The less pressure, the less it's going to press on the jar. So if we have high pressure, pause the video right now and think about what high pressure will do to the balloon. So you're back now. Hopefully you've realized that high pressure will suck the balloon or push the balloon down farther, because there's going to be higher pressure pushing down on this balloon. Of course, the jar doesn't move because it's solid, but the balloon is flexible and it'll indent down in. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a wand up here, or a measuring stick, that's going to move up and down based on the pressure. If we have a high pressure, it's going to suck down and it's going to move the wand up. If we have low pressure, it's going to bulge this out and push the wand down. Okay, so the longer the wand, the better, more refined you can get out here. If I have it really short, I only get a little movement. If I have it really long, I get a lot more movement. So where does this needle come in, or this piece of wire? I just snipped the piece of wire. I'm going to tape this to the balloon, to the straw here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it around here. This will make it so we can get even more refined, accurate results. So when I put my cardstock up here, it's pointing to our grid over here that we're going to make. So what you're going to need to do at this point, because it could be a high pressure on the day you make this, it could be a low pressure, it could be somewhere in between. You're going to want to go to weather.gov. Now that's the National Weather Service, and I'll post that on Google Classroom for you when I post this video. You're going to go there, do a search for your zip code. So if you're in Bedford 50833, you'll type that in, and on there, I'll try to give you a little snapshot of this, you should find the pressure, or the barometric pressure, in inches. About an average barometric pressure in inches is about 30. Today I read it out at 30.22. So I know that the pressure inside the jar is exactly the same as the pressure outside the jar when I sealed it up. So I know that the pressure in there is 30.22, and it's 30.22 on the outside as well. So when I tape my paper to the back here, I'm going to tape my paper to the back. I'm going to get that done here real quick for you. And you can do the paper however you want to. Something like this, get enough tape on the back here. And I'm going to do it something like this. It's really sticky, that's good. And you might want to lean this up against the wall or something so that you can note this differences. I'm going to tape my straw with the middle right around the middle of the indentation, so it's the most sensitive to changes. So I'm going to tape my tape here. I'm going to tape it down in the middle of this. Something like this. Make sure you have enough paper on the outside to detect the change. Okay, something like that. And now I know that today it's 30.22, so I'm going to lay this down and make a mark right where the wand's pointing, and I'm going to write on here 30.22 inches of probably mercury or something. You can just say inches. But up here is going to be higher pressure, higher pressure. And down here is going to be lower pressure. And I've never done this before, so I'm not sure how it'll work out, but I'll try to give some updates. And so you should come back every day and just see if this wand has gone up or down from high to low, and see let's say you come back one day and it's like right here. Okay, you can go to the weather.gov and see what the actual pressure is in inches and document right where it's pointing that's that pressure in inches. It's going to vary somewhere between probably low at 28, very low would be 28. In the center of a hurricane, the pressure gets down to probably as low as 27 point something, all the way up to a high of maybe 32. So that's kind of the range we're looking at. So if you get something, a day and it's all of a sudden at 31, you can write down up here 31, and you can start getting yourself a range or a scale built here to determine whether you have high or low pressure. And then look outside. If it shows that it's high pressure on here, does it look like it's high pressure outside? Is it sunny? Sunny skies? If it's low pressure, is it cloudy and rainy and those kind of things? Just make those observations as well. So there's your homemade barometer. If you have any questions at all, email me, and I'd be happy to try to help you with that through email. And I hope you're doing well right now. We'll talk to you soon.